spoon. Thank you.
Oh
And don't count your weasels before they pop, dink.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
He is the one, he is the only Townsend Coleman, everybody. Woohoo!
Hey, kids.
Howdy. Thanks for joining
Come on,
us.
soldier. Yes.
Oh my gosh, this is already going to be so much fun. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me over to play. Are you kidding? Come on, look at this.
Yay. It's funny because like before we started the stream, my husband and I were talking about there's this scene in the movie The Birdcage where they're trying to remember how to pronounce the last name Coleman, and they're like, is it Coldman or Goldman? Coleman? But I was like, no, I think it's Coleman. It's Coleman. So
Yeah, there you go. It's Coleman. Yes.
it's Coleman. That it is. That is. So I kind of wanted to start by asking you, I know you started off as a disc jockey, which I think is really neat in Cleveland. So would you say Cleveland rocks?
Yeah, Cleveland rocks. Cleveland definitely rocks. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but you weren't originally from. And
Oh, look, he's got the shirt. Oh, perfect.
I feel like we planned this. Oh my God. We totally planned. But you weren't initially born in Cleveland. You migrated over that way.
Right. Yeah. No, I was born in Manhattan. And then when I was a year old, my dad moved us to Denver. And when I was 7, we moved to Cleveland. That's basically where I grew up and went to high school and went off to college, got married, and then came out here in 1984. When I say here, I'm in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Awesome. So what were some of your favorite artists to play? And I know you're also, from what I can tell, a big fan of the Monkees.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I'm of a certain age, if you will, dear. And so, yes, when I was a kid, 12 years old and prime Monkees fan, 1966, 67, 68, in there, was a huge Monkees fan. So when I got out here and ended up falling into cartoons in 1985 and in 1993 got this show called The Tick. And then there was this character named Arthur who was the Tick's sidekick, and come to find out he was being voiced by Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was like a huge highlight of my career to meet him and work for him for the first season on that show, and then seasons 2 and 3 because he went on the road with the Monkees, and so Rob Paulson did the voice of Arthur for seasons 2 and 3 on that show.
Oh my gosh, that's so incredible. How fun is that? Do you have a favorite song from the Monkees? I know it's always hard to pick a favorite, but.
Well, I'm a believer, it's just a fantastic Neil Diamond song, and I was a big Neil Diamond fan too, so.
Same.
Yeah. So I would say that's it, They do this great song. Mickey sings this incredible tune called "Going Down," and it was never a hit. I mean, a hit on the radio, really, but a very popular song with Monkees fans. And if you haven't heard it, you gotta hear this song. If you've never heard it, it's a great song. One, and two. When I've seen Mickey now in concert a couple of times, and it's always funny because he sings this song in concert. But because hardcore Monkees fans know this song so well, there's always somebody in the front row singing the song. So he always goes down with a microphone and lets them sing a verse of it. But you got to hear the song. It's called "Going Down." Yeah.
After this, I will be checking it out.
There you go.
The Monkees have a great catalog of music. I'm a casual fan myself.
Yeah.
I was curious. So you kind of talked about how you ended up in Los Angeles. Was your voiceover career and stuff like that, is that what kind of kept you there since you've been there since you said, 85?
84.
84.
Yeah, I moved out here in exactly 38 years ago. My goodness. Yeah, over Labor Day weekend we pulled in. And yeah, actually, I was a rock and roll jock in Cleveland for 10 years. And it was there and during that time that I discovered freelance voiceover, because I was also production director at a number of the radio stations I worked at, which means I got, to do the production of the local radio commercials and voice them. And so I was a big fan of of voice and voice acting anyway. Because I grew up with my dad being my dad was on the radio in Denver for a short while. In fact, my folks met working at NBC in New York at 30 Rock in the early 50s. And my dad's goal was to be a network announcer for NBC. So in 1993, when I had this fluke audition for a promo at NBC for a new campaign they were starting called Must See TV, I ended up doing the very first Must See TV promo. They put it on the air that night, and then they ended up keeping me for 16 years.
Wow.
So I was a comedy voice of NBC for 16 years, starting with Seinfeld, Frasier, Friends, Mad About You, all those. I launched Friends in 95, and then all the way up through 2009, doing 30 Rock and The Office and Community and those shows. And then they let me go, and I went on to do the same thing over at ABC for about 5 years. And then they let me go, and then I was at Fox for a year or two, and and they let me go. So it's sort of bouncing around this business. But the promo career, which kind of came out of my radio background as well as my acting background, has really been kind of the lion's share of my work up until just recently. I was for the longest time, I mean, like 16, 17 years, did the daily promos for Live with Kelly and Ryan.
Wow.
Back when it was Live with Regis and Kelly, and then Kelly on her own, and then Live with Kelly and Michael when it was Michael Strahan, and then Kelly on her own again. And then they got Ryan Seacrest, and so the last 4 or 5 years has been Live with Kelly and Ryan. So fortunate enough to have that gig for a long time. Yeah.
That I think that's why you're so comfortable to talk to, is because I feel like we know you, because you've just voiced everything I've ever known. So I'm like, I feel so comfortable. I love it. That's what an incredible, awesome, super, super fun career that you've had.
Yeah.
And I mean, you still have so many credits coming out too. It's like, it's so wild. But Townsend, have you ever met another Townsend?
Yeah, once. And it was sort of a weird experience. A gal said that she named her son Townsend, and so I got a chance to meet him once, but he's the only Townsend I've, other than my dad and my grandfather, because I'm actually the third. So get a load of this, you guys. So a lot of people think Townsend Coleman is like a stage name or something, right? Yeah. Or a radio name. Well, it's a terrible radio name, trust me. In fact, one of my program directors at a rock station back in Cleveland didn't want me to use my real name. He wanted me to be, not Butch, but Max. He wanted me to be Max Coleman because he didn't like the name Townsend, which I understand. It's a last name. It's not really a first name. So my full name is Townsend Putnam Coleman the third.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did meet my dad, and I did meet my grandfather. So those were two Townsends right there I met.
Wow. I think it's such a cool, unique name. I think it's a great name for anything. Radio, TV, everything. I like the name Townsend.
Well, thank you, Kid Cadet, which is what it says on your birth certificate, right?
Yes, I was born Kid Cadet, and someday maybe I'll be adult cadet. We're still waiting. There
you go. Listen, to be honest, I hated the name when I was a kid because my dad was Big Town, because my nickname was Townie. My dad's nickname was Townie. So he was Big Townie and I was Little Townie, which I wasn't particularly fond of. Yeah. And all I ever wanted to do was be a Bob or a Pete or a John or a Steve, and here I was Townie. So I took a fair amount of heat for that when I was a kid. So when I went off to college at University of Colorado in Boulder, I actually changed my name. I changed it to Scott, just because I didn't want to be Townie Coleman anymore. I was going to be somebody else. So I changed it to Scott and was a theater major out there, actually an architect major for a short while, which is what got me out there. But then that lasted like 2 seconds, and I changed it to theater, which is what I wanted to do anyway. So, yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you're you.
Thank you.
I think it's a really unique, wonderful name, to be honest.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you knew, but we recently had Cam Clark on the show,
No,
And
I
we
didn't
know
know.
that you also appeared on Super Password Plus, but we were wondering, as to be, how did you do on the show?
Well, I did. I think I did probably about as well as Cam did. Maybe not as well as Cam did. Yeah, I didn't do well at all. My partner was Fred Grandy, a gopher from the Love Boat, and he was not particularly helpful. He was a little, I don't know why, but he seemed a little hostile uh, toward me on a game show of all things. But yeah, so I think I ended up walking away with like $200 and a bedspread and
Oh,
and a whole box of like curling irons.
Wow.
So and 2 gallons of house paint. So it was a profitable day.
wow.
Win-win.
A bedspread and curling irons. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sounds
Hey,
like
I'm serious. I'm serious. I got this box. They sent me this box, and and it was a huge box too. And there must have been probably 20 different curling irons and flat irons, and it was all from Conair.
uh,
And so it was. There were like hair dryers in there and curling. I was like, what in the world am I going to do with all these? So I gave them to my sisters and my wife and my daughters.
that was very kind. You're sharing the wealth.
Right.
I
Right.
I have to wonder though, like what's one of the strangest things that has ever been given away on a game show. I feel like Let's Make a Deal Now probably gives away some pretty peculiar things. It's like you can either have this car or what's behind the curtain, and what's
Right.
behind the curtain is usually like what a
Oh,
lawnmower. I don't
yeah,
know.
it's like or either that or just the grass.
Yeah,
I'll take the
exactly.
plot of dirt. Thank you.
Yeah.
Would you ever compete on another show like that, another game show, Townsend?
At this point, no, probably not. No, I don't think so.
Totally fair. Totally
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so you've mentioned that you are incredibly prolific in this world, and obviously you were part of so many different shows that Ace and I have watched and listened to. Was there ever a show that you wish that you had the opportunity to be on, but never had the chance to be? Rather, maybe because of timing or just other projects.
Sure. Simpsons.
Mm.
Great answer.
I mean, what? I mean, there are a lot of shows out there that I think are terrific, and that and parts that I auditioned for that I didn't get, and then saw who got them and went, well, okay, that makes perfect sense. Um, you know, yeah. I mean, yes, Simpsons. If I could have even just done one episode, just to say that I had done it, that would have been a blast. To do that, but
It's still going. I mean, they're still
after
going,
Yeah.
right?
after what 87 years or
Yeah.
something, it's
The 1940s.
right,
It does
right,
feel like it's been on for forever.
Right.
right.
It started on what HBO as part of the Tracy Ullman
Tracy
show, right?
Ullman,
And then
yeah.
it evolved into its own. Yeah, it's never Townsend. I think we can make a phone call. I think we should get you on The Simpsons.
Well,
Let's put it out there in the
then
universe.
you make that phone call because I'm not making.
Fair
We're gonna have our people call their people and
Yeah,
see what
exactly,
arrangements we can
exactly.
make.
That's right.
So speaking of voiceover stuff, I guess it was recently National Voice Actors Day. Did you celebrate that? And do you know exactly how one would even celebrate that?
No, as a matter of fact, I didn't even know it happened, and I found out after the fact because I'd never even heard of it.
Yeah, same.
And yeah, and so I'm not sure it was even a real thing or somebody was just trying to get a little a little momentum rolling for voice actors or something. I don't know, but no, the way I would most love to celebrate it is just by working. Yeah,
Yeah, as someone who's done a little voiceover work myself, same. Yeah,
right, yeah.
So I say that's how we celebrate from here on out is by working.
by
There you
working
go.
more
Yeah,
voiceover work.
yeah,
Yes.
right.
So kind of to segue a little bit back into music, Townsend, you play the cello?
Well, I can't say I actually played the cello. I was studying the cello. Yeah, and that was about 10 years ago, and that lasted all of about 6 months for me too. So it was something, I was coming off a couple of tough years back in 2011, 2012, and launching into 2013, I decided, there were a couple of things I wanted to do. So so I went out and did them. And so I went out and rented this cello and was taking cello lessons with this terrific gal. And I really enjoyed it. But the problem for me is that I've always been just, I've never had any real self-discipline. So I wasn't practicing. And if you don't practice, it's just no fun, you know. Not that practicing's fun, but you're not going to get anywhere unless you practice. And so I started getting discouraged because I kept trying to talk myself into practicing, and yet days would go by and I hadn't practiced. A week would go by, then 2 weeks would go by, and I hadn't, and so finally after about 6 months, here I'm paying rental charges on this cello, and I thought, this is just silly, so I returned the cello and never did pick it back up again. But
I like this one comment is that they called it a Michelangelo.
That's great.
I
Yeah,
love it.
that's from Katie. There you go.
Michelangelo is phenomenal. I also feel like it's not a very portable instrument, is it? That has to be hard to get around to gigs and stuff too. So
Yeah, right.
Well, was there a particular? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I was, when my kids were little, I always had this notion, because I'm not musical in the sense that I don't play any musical instruments. I do have a fairly large collection of hand drums, cajon boxes and bongos and congos and stuff like that, djembes, which I like. That's sort of my therapy. When I'm by myself, and I'll crank some music up and sit on my cajon box and just wail away, and until the palms of my hands, are black and blue. So I really enjoy those, and I'm fairly decent at that. But both my boys are musicians, and somehow they got this musical gene, and both of them are just terrific. My youngest son is Tyler's a drummer, and really sharp, and then my older son Chris he's a guitarist and a bassist, but also a recording engineer and a music producer and stuff. So the boys got this musical thing, and then my two girls got this graphic arts thing going on. So yeah, it's interesting how the girls got the visual thing going, and the boys got the musical thing going.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome.
I got none of it. Oh, but what I was going to say is, so when my kids were little, I always wanted to have musical instruments around in case they, decided that they, wanted to pick it up. Maybe this would engender in them, a curiosity about music, and so I think it worked with my boys. My girls wanted to try it and sort of tried it, but they just don't have it kind of any more than I do.
But graphic art is a talent I wish I could possess, and I can't even draw a straight line, or I'm still stuck in MS Paint. So I'm so fascinated by people that can just create this beautiful imagery.
Right, me too.
That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people in the comments are talking about hearing you and the other turtles sing together. So of course, we have to mention you all have such beautiful voices, and I got to witness you guys singing "Happy Together" by the Turtles live, which was, oh my gosh, what a cool moment.
Yeah.
How often do you guys get to break out into song?
Well, almost every time we get together for a con, and thankfully the cons are, sort of back in full swing now, which we're real thankful for. It's been a busy year for those, and so almost every time we get together for a Comic-Con somewhere, we end up busting out and singing that tune in particular. Wherever we are somewhere. It's always a fun song to sing. Yeah.
I think now you guys should start learning "Happy Together" from the Monkees, and the next one, switch it up, from Turtles to Monkees. I think there's a transition there, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, we could let's see. A Monkees whom we'll sing Last Train to Clarksville. No.
That's a good one. I like.
Yeah, okay. We'll do that one.
All right.
I still think it's have to be "I'm a Believer."
I'm a Believer.
Yeah.
I could see that. I agree with that. So you were famously the voice of the Tick. I was wondering, what is your relationship with the other people that have portrayed the Tick over the years?
Well, I have no relationship with them to speak of. I've never met Pat Warburton, although I would love to.
Yeah.
Hope to, maybe at a con or something somewhere someday. We actually did this very interesting Zoom thing, I think about a year ago, where they had the three Ticks together. So it was me, Patrick Warburton, and Peter Serafinowicz. And Peter was, of course, the live action Tick on the most recent Amazon Prime version of the Tick, out about 4 or 5 years ago. And then Patrick Warburton was the Tick in the late '90s, in the live action version that he did. But I've never actually met Patrick in person, only over that Zoom special thing that we did with the creator of the Tick, Ben Edlund, and a number of other cast members. Rob Paulson was on that show, and a number of people from the show, and that was a lot of fun. Peter Serafinowicz I actually met when they had the grand opening, not the grand opening, the premiere screening of the Amazon Prime show in New York City, and so they invited me out to that. I went out to that and got a chance to meet Jackie Earle Haley and Peter and so many of the rest of the cast, that it was a blast. But other than that, I mean, I've got no relationship with any of them, you know.
Yeah.
I think, like you mentioned, that'd be so cool to see live. So I'm hoping, fingers and toes crossed, at maybe an upcoming convention, we can have all of you guys together and
Agreed.
talk Tick, as everyone's spamming spoon in the chat. Spoon!
Thank you. And don't count your weasels before they pop, dink.
Oh my God. Oh, crazy. Well,
I am the Tick. The Three
Amazing.
Ticks sounds like a grunge band. Yes, it does, doesn't it?
So to transition from one of your fantastic roles to another, I wanted to bring up a picture that was from one of your recent promotions with your other Turtle Boys. And I wanted to kind of get your opinion on this picture. If we can get our producer to bring it up. This is called stalling because I don't see it on the screen. Okay, here it comes. So this is a recent promotion. So we have all the turtles here, right? So everyone here has their weapons in the background, but Mikey has pizza.
Right.
Any thoughts as to I mean, are we warding people off with pizza? What's the sitch here?
No, I think probably my nunchucks are hiding somewhere. Either that or I've traded in my nunchucks for pizza, pepperoni pizza. But see, the pepperoni pizza, that's what's misleading because that's just wrong. Michelangelo's favorite pizza is anchovy and hot fudge.
Yum.
Yeah.
Whose isn't?
Right. I mean, so obvious. Yeah, where did my nunchucks go? That's just not right.
Yeah, I wasn't certain. I was just trying to figure out the backstory behind all of it, but maybe they're on the ground. Maybe he put them down to. I don't know. That doesn't.
Which he would do in a heartbeat. if there's pizza handy, sure.
Okay, so fudge and anchovy. Is this something you would ever try, Townsend? Sounds like very fear factor, doesn't it?
Let's just say I have not tried it yet.
Okay. The night is young.
But that's right. There's still plenty of time.
That there is. So what would be like your ideal pizza, Townsend? Like what is like your dream slice?
So in real life, I would say it's got to start with extra cheese, a fairly thin crust, and a mushroom, sausage, onion, and black olive.
Okay.
Yes.
Good for you. You're adventurous. Okay, Ace, what about you?
Oh, well, I would totally second everything you just requested, except hold the sausage. Anything black, olives, mushroom, veggie combination, extra cheese sounds good. Thin crust. It could even be as adventurous to do the square cutting rather than a traditional
Right.
pizza slice, because
Right.
being avant-garde here, I guess, or whatever. Yeah, that'd be me.
Yeah, that sounds good. See, I love all pizza, even like Little Caesars. So I'm just happy being around it whenever I can have it. So
Ooh.
what?
No,
What?
no,
Little
no, no,
Caesars?
nothing. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. No,
Okay.
Little Caesars is fine. Little Caesars.
Okay.
Any port in a storm? Is it that kind of thing?
That's right.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Ace, why don't you ask the last question? Then we'll go into our game.
You got it. You got it. So,
Game.
okay.
Whoa,
So
whoa, whoa. You didn't warn me about a game. What is this all
there's
about?
definitely a game coming up. We'll
Okay.
segue to that momentarily, but one last thing.
Oh,
So at
brother.
conventions, obviously you receive a ton of fan art. Is there something that's been given to you over the years that has sentimental value or that stands out?
Wow. Yes. Any number of pieces. I mean, the gal Katie, right on here, who's been popping in on the chat. She gave me really a lovely picture of Michelangelo, and Michelangelo with she's a big fan of Gordon Ramsay. And
Yeah.
and so she did a picture of Michelangelo with Gordon Ramsay, which I think is great.
Love it.
I've gotten so much fan art over the years. To try and pick out one right off the top of my head is tough. But I will tell you, this wasn't fan art as such, but I guess you could say it was fan art in reverse. And here's why. So back in the early 90s, I did the voice of Waldo on Where's Waldo?
Wow.
And the gentleman who drew those the Waldo characters, who created Waldo and drew all the books and stuff, he actually sent me, as a thank you for doing the voice of Waldo, a little hand drawn picture, just a portrait of Waldo, just full body, just standing there, just waving, and then an inscription that said, Townsend, brilliant work on Waldo. Thank you for being a part of it, Martin Hanford, and so. And it's small. I mean, the whole thing is only about that big. And then he framed it himself. It's hand framed, and he sent this thing to me. So that's like, wow. Not that he's a fan. I mean, I'm a fan, but
Yeah.
he did this little drawing, this little personal drawing for me, and it
That's
was
so
so.
special.
I mean, so
Ah.
that's really one of my treasures. Now,
That's,
yeah,
that's amazing. What a unique thing to have.
yeah.
And I'm just remembering I have a Where's Waldo tattoo, and I'm trying to find it. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
That
this
was
I want to
unironic.
see. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I've got Waldo Vans that I
Let's see if
wear to cons now.
I think he's right there.
There he is. I
Yeah,
found
yeah.
him.
I'm also getting yelled at in the chat because I should have said Pizza Hut, and my bad. Shout out to Personal Pan Pizzas, and I also had the Turtles on tape, and my best friend Danica and I used to rap and know all the songs. So shout out to Pizza Hut. My apologies. Okay. So there is a game. Like we mentioned before, this is a game of Would You Rather. There is no wrong answers. Whatever you choose.
No,
is the
no,
right
no.
answer.
No, Kid Cadet, let me
Yes.
say, everything that ends up coming out of my mouth with games like this are all wrong answers.
No, you're gonna do great. You're gonna
Okay.
do phenomenal.
All right.
So,
You say
we're
so.
gonna,
Is that a promise?
yes, it's a guarantee. Okay. So
Perfect.
let's bring up the graphic, and here's the first one. Would you rather live in the world of the last video game that you voice, or live in the world of the last cartoon that you voiced?
The last cartoon that I voiced, I would say, which was Mighty Magiswords, a great cartoon that was on Cartoon Net, and Kyle Carosa created that and did a billion of the voices on it. I'm trying to think what the last video game was that I voiced, because I haven't done that many, and it's been ages. I want to say it's been. Oh no. Okay, I'm going to change my answer. Can I change my answer?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay, I'm changing my answer to the last video game I voiced, which was Shredder's Revenge. So there you go. Here, like, duh. I'm thinking, yeah, because I'm thinking I haven't done video games in ages, but then, yeah, hello, that was the last one, and there's actually, yeah, there actually maybe I might. Okay, so there might be one in the works somewhere that I can't talk about. And
Okay.
and I will just say that maybe that might be where I'd love to live.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll
All
keep our eyes
right.
and ears
Hmm.
peeled then.
Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yes.
All right, Ace, you're up.
Okay. Would you rather
Oh, look at this.
see Ninja Turtles crossover with the Tick or a Ninja Turtles crossover with Teen Wolf?
With a tick, absolutely. Although I love doing Teen Wolf. That was great. But yeah, the tick, because I got to be honest with you guys. As much as I mean, listen, doing Michelangelo on the Ninja Turtles has been one of the greatest gifts I've ever been given. And eternally grateful for that. And I love, love, love that show. But when I did the tick, there was just something about the it was such a different take on superheroes, and it was so out there, and coming from mostly from the mind of Ben Edlund. It was just those recording sessions and those scripts were just hilarious to me. And so and of course love doing Mikey too. So yeah, a crossover between the Tick and Ninja Turtles would be a dream come true for me.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, yes. Let's make it happen. Okay. Here's the next one. Would you rather? You're doing great so far, by the way. Okay. Would you rather?
Thanks. So I'm not failing miserably.
Not at all.
Thank
Would you
you.
rather? Would you rather sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" at a Cleveland Guardians game, or sing the national anthem at a Cleveland Browns game?
Singing the national anthem would be a little nerve wracking for me. I watched Rob Paulson do it at a Dodgers game, and kudos to him, man. I was up in the cheap seats and watching him and just going, man, good for you, brother. He no pun intended, knocked it out of the park. He did. But I remember thinking as I was watching him, no way, no way, no way, no way, no way, no way. You'd never catch me doing that. So that would be a little daunting. Somehow take me out to the ball game is a little easier going. That's something, we all sing.
Yeah.
And so I could do that.
Collectively, yes. Yeah. The national anthem, I think what makes it so scary, first of all, at situations like this, with you hear yourself, like the delay of like 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And then also everyone knows the words. So it's like you can't screw up the national anthem. That it is the scary, it's so scary to do.
Yeah.
But,
and you're the soloist. It's like nobody's singing along with you, basically, unless they're
Right.
singing under their breath. Take me out to the ball game. Everybody's singing that. So it's like, yeah, great. You're
Yeah.
just sort of like a choir director then.
good choice. I'm with you. Excellent
Thank you.
choice. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Although I don't know why, I don't know why you'd say that, because you are an amazing singer.
She
Thank
is.
you.
An
I appreciate
amazing
that.
singer, folks. If
Thank
you
you.
haven't seen any of this gal's, where? So I'm gonna switch this around a little bit. Where would people find you online singing, like on Instagram or something, seeing your
Sure.
singing videos?
Yeah. I mean, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok. I'm also on Spotify under Kid Cadet, YouTube, all the things.
So it's all under Kid Cadet.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Good deal.
That's me. Woohoo. Thank
Yeah.
you for the plug. I appreciate that.
Amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, Ace, you're up.
Okay. So would you rather voice the main character in a reboot of your favorite cartoon growing up or your favorite comic book character?
Favorite cartoon growing up? Oh. Well, I'm gonna have to say the main character in one of the cartoons growing up. I think that'd be a blast. The cartoons that I remember liking were basically Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Yeah.
So many of those voices were Dawes Butler, And I mean, Huckleberry. I think Huckleberry Hound was one of my favorite characters when I was a kid, and so I yeah, that would have been a dream come true. To be able to do the one of the main characters from one of those shows that I did growing up, or that I watched growing up.
Very fair. Great choice. Okay,
Yeah.
here's the next one. Would you rather eat a pizza with pickles as a topping or eat a pizza with strawberries as a topping? Okay.
Oh man, well it depends. It really depends on what goes along with it. I would have to say strawberries,
Yeah,
even
that
though
doesn't seem as bad, does it? It kind of seems refreshing.
right, even if it's cheese and tomato sauce.
Yeah.
I don't know. You get a lot of green leaves on there. What is that? Mint or something?
Yeah,
That's
what mint, basil? I don't know what that is. I don't
oh,
know.
okay. Yeah, I'll go with the strawberries.
Okay. Good choice. All right. We do have a couple more. I think we have 2 or 3 more. So let's
Okay.
bring up the next one.
All right.
Ace.
Okay. Would you rather do a session right after eating 5-star heat Indian food, or would you rather do a session right after drinking a pint of milk?
A pint. Okay. Yeah,
know.
I'm gonna. Believe it or not, I'm gonna go with the milk.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, even though it tends to, any sort of dairy will tend to gunk your throat up
Yeah.
a lot. But listen, I've got a sort of a fuzzy voice anyway, and I'm always clearing my throat and hacking and coughing and stuff like that. So, what's just a little more milk on top of it, right?
Sure. Of course.
Right.
A little tinge of milk.
A little
Okay.
extra
Well,
dairy.
Right. 5-star heat Indian food, though. That's great.
yeah, that is uncomfortably hot. But if I'm not
Yeah.
sweating when I'm eating Indian food, then you're doing it wrong.
You're doing
That's
something
right.
wrong.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think you did it. You did great, Townsend.
What?
So congratulations. Way to go. Great job.
We're done.
Great job.
We're done already on that. Oh,
I know.
And it was getting good.
But you got them all right. That's the weird
you
part.
Did I? Thank you.
You sure did. You were studying. I saw a question in here that I'm going to go back to really quick before we do wrap it up. They were asking, what personality trait would you say you have most in common with Mikey, and which would you say would you have least in common?
Oh boy, good question. I would say, I'm sort of easy. I think, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I think I'm pretty easygoing, like Mikey. So that's sort of an easy part of his personality to play, and probably the most like me, I would guess. Kind of playful, easygoing. The thing that I probably, Mikey oftentimes wasn't like the brightest bulb in the chandelier. You know what I mean? So I like to think that maybe I'm like just a touch quicker and smarter than Mikey is. But there's I guess there's room for argument there too.
Okay, fair enough. And one more final question. Is there a piece of advice that you received from a colleague or someone that you worked with early in your career that you now pass on today or still utilize to this day?
Yeah, don't be a dick.
That's
I
it.
guess
Amen.
that's just good advice for life. There, don't be a jerk to people.
Yeah.
No, I learned early on in my career here, just by basically watching heroes of mine, kind of how to be and how not to be. I met some guys who were not the most pleasant people, ultra talented for sure, but not the most pleasant people either to be around or to work with. For maybe they were just curmudgeons, or maybe they were just chronically late, or maybe they just had, maybe they were stuck up and had an attitude, and it was difficult to carry on with them. I don't know. But conversely, the people that I always appreciated, were the people who would, treat me, a newcomer, like like one of the team, and that always meant the world to me. And so I've always tried at least to make it a point to do the same, and to pay it forward, and to also, take other, young voice actors under my wing at certain times over my career. When I've met somebody and they've got questions for me, and I always try and give them the time that I can. Just like when we go to cons, something that I'm forever grateful for. Just getting to spend time with the fans and giving each person eye contact and my ears and my attention and me. I think that that's just so important, to try and maintain that human element that we tend to miss so much these days, I think.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is I've got to meet you like at a couple conventions now, and obviously we go to meet you because your work has impacted our life, but it's that extra element of how kind all of you are at conventions, like all the turtles. You guys just really are so good with all of us. I don't want to just say fans, because it really feels more like family.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have just always been so kind and so gracious. And that's what makes me more of a fan of somebody, is how nice and genuine you are. It's not put on. You know how much this means to us. So no, thank you. Thank you.
Well, thanks for saying it. And I know that that it's true for all of us. I can't, or if I could think of 2 people, 3 people, in my years in this business that I, kind of wouldn't want to work with, it would be a lot. The people, I came out here to be an on-camera actor, but I discovered fairly quickly that I wasn't that crazy about that end of the business. But when the voiceover thing just sort of kind of grabbed me by the throat and never let go, I was so thankful for that, because of the other actors who were populating this business. They're the most creative, facile, funny, witty, quick, genuinely down to earth actors around. I when I was pursuing the on camera thing, in the theatrical world, I didn't find on-camera actors to be like that. I found them to be much more competitive and aggressive and kind of dog-eat-dog world, which I didn't really care for, Yeah. But the voice actors, man, there's just something really special about this community. Of course, it's a much bigger community now than it used to be when I came here, 38 years ago. But yeah, it's I feel very, very fortunate and very blessed, very lucky to have landed on this side of the entertainment industry rather than in front of the camera.
Fair. Well, we feel lucky to know you, and everyone's
Thanks.
echoing our sentiments. If it's okay, there's like 2 or 3 more questions. Is that okay,
Sure.
Townsend?
Of course.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure people get their questions in. So this one's from Luna. Luna wants to know if you could tell us about the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle crossover and how it felt being back together voicing the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. That was a blast, because it was the first time that we'd gotten a chance to work together again, and certainly doing our characters since we did our show, back in the 80s and 90s. So getting to do that 2012 series, and what made it extra special and especially fun was the fact that Rob, of course, being Raphael on our original series, and then Donatello on the 2012 series, they wrote some really terrific dialogue and a very funny scene where Rob got to talk to himself as the new Donatello and the old Raphael. And and so that was a blast. But doing those couple of episodes was such a thrill and such a highlight for us. And when those things aired, man, it's like we just weren't hearing the end of it. Turtles fans were going crazy for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then here's one final question. This is from Timothy. And it's just, what's your favorite Ninja Turtle episode, if you have one? He gave some options, but you get to pick.
Yeah, you know what? Bugman was great. We did almost 200 episodes, and I'll be perfectly honest. I never saw them all. I've never seen all the episodes of any show I've ever done. I'll see a couple of representative episodes that I think, or at least that I think are representative. To get a sense of kind of the work that we did and where we went with it and stuff like that. But none of the shows I've ever done have I watched all of them. I don't know why I'm not much of a TV watcher to begin with, and it makes me feel a little weird. Somehow I don't know. So I don't really have a favorite, although a couple of the episodes that I have seen a number of times are the first 5-part miniseries that we did, and I have to say that I would say that group of episodes, but especially episode number 1, just because I have such fond memories of recording that episode. Because, and you might have heard this story before, but when we showed up for that recording session, they hadn't decided whether I was going to be Michelangelo or Leonardo.
Right.
And same with Cam. So, I mean, I can remember that session like it was yesterday. And being over at B&B Sound in Burbank and being thrilled for yet another job. Of course, back then we had no idea what the Ninja Turtles would turn into. When Rob and I were working on Fraggle Rock before that show, our voice director came into one of our Fraggle Rock recording sessions and pulled out a Ninja Turtle comic out of his briefcase and said, "Hey, look, you guys, this is what I'm going to be casting and directing next." And we looked at the comic, and I just remember thinking, "Wow, well, good luck with that." But he brought us into audition, and the rest, as they say, is not only history but continuing history. I still can't believe that this franchise has the monster legs that it continues to have. So it's pretty crazy to me that it just seems like it's bigger than ever, and these toys they keep cranking these toys out, and wow.
Yeah. Oh man. I was going to say, I think I have a cell. I'm looking at it from across the room from one of the original episodes. I'll have to see let me see. Sorry. Excuse me. Ace.
Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, I think it's a testament to whatever generation grew up, myself included, watching those shows, that 20 plus years later is still ongoing.
Yeah.
See if I can show it.
Oh, there you go.
April, yeah.
There's April, our dear Renee Jacobs.
I know. I need to get her to sign it at one of these.
Yeah, that's great. Do you remember where you got the cell?
It was a gift to me. The one cosplay I do is April O'Neil. So It was gifted to me from one of the conventions that I do.
Oh, great. Oh, what a nice gift.
I treasure it dearly. We just moved, so it hasn't made its way up yet, but it shall.
Okay.
But Townsend, thank you so much. This has been such a joy. Like, I cannot thank you enough. And hopefully our paths are going to cross again very, very soon, now that the world is ever so slowly getting back to normal, whatever that may be. Before we release you, any final thoughts you want to leave us with here today?
No, I just want to thank you guys. Thank you to the fans out there who are watching, and thank you, Laura. She just popped on and said thank you. And I just couldn't be more grateful for the career that I've had, and it honestly wouldn't be. I wouldn't have had this career if it weren't for you guys. We often say it at panels and such, but I mean, it's so true. Without the fans, we just wouldn't even exist. There would be no point in making shows if there weren't people out there who ended up loving them. The thing that has always flabbergasted me ever since we started doing these Comic-Cons and meeting fans was hearing the stories from so many people, and hearing how this particular show and these characters have impacted so many people in such really profound ways over the years. And that's always blown my mind, you know. And what a privilege to just be even a small part of something like that that can actually have an impact on another person, you know, and get them through tough times. So thank you guys, thank you, Ace. Yeah, thank you, kid. Appreciate it. I hope to see you at another con soon, and keep your singing thing going. And and Ace, good luck with your voiceover career, man.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time today.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And I'll just leave you with Cowabunga!
Oh my
Whoa,
God.
dudes.
Awesome.
Turtle power.
Oh, my goodness.
Amazing.
We were going to go over upcoming guests really quick, but I feel like, okay, we'll go over the upcoming guests and then we'll collectively cowabunga.
Okay. I like that.
Let's bring them up. Here we go. Okay, so next Tuesday we have Josh Server from All That. Thursday we have Michaelangelo, who's the creative director for Halloween Horror Nights. The following week we have musical guest Twisted. Then we also have Bruce Valanche coming up, Jason Marsden, Katie Babs, and then Townsend will have to do this again because I feel like we barely scratched the surface. So.
I would love it. I would love it. Yeah, have me over to play another time.
Done. It's on. Great. All right. Should we collectively cowabunga?
Yes, let's do a turtle power.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Turtle power!
I think we got it. All right, guys.
My timing's all off.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much.
I love it. See you guys real soon. Be safe, everybody. Bye.